The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. We're going to be going over some cnPilot information and specifically in the frictionless Wi-Fi area. I have Trevor on the call with us here. He's one of our Wi-Fi specialists. So without further ado, Trevor, it's over to you.
Thanks, Andrew. Hello, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon. And thank you for joining this webinar on cnPilot Frictionless Wi-Fi. I'm Trevor Miranda, and today I'll talk to you about our Wi-Fi solution called cnPilot and how can it help you provide enterprise quality Wi-Fi solutions to your customers. If Cambium is new to you, I'd like to say a few words about our company. Our mission is connecting the unconnected, where people, wherever they are, connecting places and things to. We are a global company. We have a presence all over the world in more than 150 countries. We have been shipping our radios for many years and have over 6 million installations all over the world. Our products are entirely distributed through our channel partners, and we have over 3,000 of them around the world. Cambium has been known for its PDP and PMP products for a long time, and around 2 years ago we introduced our Wi-Fi products. So why did we do this? If you look at the existing Wi-Fi products in the market, you can broadly classify them into two groups. So on one hand, you have the solutions that are quite good. They have quite complex features which these companies have added over the years. However, at the other end, these products also tend to be quite expensive, not just in terms of the initial capital expenditure, but also in terms of the ongoing annual licensing costs. On the other hand, you also have lower cost solutions. They might have decent entry-level features, but there are questions as to whether they can meet the same level of performance as the more expensive products. Some of these also don't provide customer support. You might have access to a community that might provide you some kind of help, but there is no vendor support 24/7. So between these two, Cambium Networks decided to find a niche in terms of the Wi-Fi products we would introduce. So cnPilot fits here as an affordable and high quality product with an excellent price to performance ratio. We have flexible options, both free and premium management. We also have 24/7 365 phone support. We have an enormous field team of technical managers around the world who can provide you with this support. So Cambium's goal is to provide a solution that not only is feature-rich, but also is affordable while maintaining the same high quality that we are known for. Our cnPilot Wi-Fi solution is based on 3 key pillars, and I'll go into more detail on what this means as we go further into this presentation. The first pillar is frictionless operation, making Wi-Fi very easy to deploy, very quick to deploy, and being able to do that without having a very large IT team. And the 3 components of that I'll talk about are ezTouch, ezDetect, and ezAccess. Second is the adaptive architecture. We do not enforce a particular network paradigm upon you. We do not require you to route or bridge your data in any particular way. Instead, the solution is very flexible and fits a variety of network architectures. And finally, our products maintain the same level of quality, both in hardware and software, that our outdoor PTP and PMP products are known for, at the same time keeping the price affordable and maintaining the price to performance ratio that we discussed about earlier. So here you can see the various products that make up the cnPilot Wi-Fi family. On the left, you see our enterprise product. E400 is a dual band 11 AC indoor product. In outdoor, we have the EPMP 1000 hotspot which is a single band 11N outdoor product. The E500 and E501S, which I'll touch on a little bit more later, are dual band 11AC outdoor products. And these outdoor products are IP67 rated for performance under varying weather conditions. On the right hand side, you see our home and small business products, the R200 and R201. These are routers which also provide Wi-Fi access. These are fully managed and available in flavors which are both single band and dual band. In addition, they have features like ATA ports. So a service provider can not only provide internet connectivity, but also VoIP features using this product. Now, a common theme to all these products, and incidentally, this is not only true of our cnPilot Wi-Fi products, but all of Cambium's PMP products too, is that they are all managed by a single solution, which we call cnMaestro. cnMaestro is a single pane through which all our indoor and outdoor Wi-Fi products, as well as our home and small business products, can be managed. In addition, cnMaestro also functions as the Wi-Fi controller, performing many of those activities that are traditionally done by a separate controller device. And the E501S is a product that is going to be introduced soon on May 16. And towards the end, I'll have a little bit more to say about this. So what audience are these products meant for? Now, the first is homes. I showed you the home and small business products, the R200 and R201 earlier. These devices are very unlike traditional routers used in the home. There are lots of inexpensive routers which people use in homes or small businesses, but these are meant to be used as managed devices. In other words, the ISP can manage them using our cnMaestro solution. And many ISPs use them to provide an enhanced service that involves providing the user with a managed Wi-Fi solution in their small businesses. cnPilot E-Series is used both indoors and outdoors in enterprises, as well as campuses and public areas. I'll go into a little bit more detail about our home and small business routers. Over there you see a picture of one of our devices. It has Ethernet ports as well as Wi-Fi. And one of those ports in blue there also provides PoE out. This is especially useful for wireless ISPs who might have a customer premises equipment that connects back to the point-to-multipoint access point. So this device can power those customer premises equipment. In addition, this also has two ATA ports, which can be used for a phone line or a fax machine. So wireless ISPs or other ISPs can provide an enhanced service that involves not only internet access, but also voice services and charge an enhanced fee for that. As I mentioned earlier, this is a managed device, and that is very important. We talked to our customers, ISPs, and they mentioned a lot of the support calls involve a fault not in the point-to-multipoint system or the wired infrastructure, but rather these support calls were for issues that were actually in the home. And these ISPs end up supporting these customers even though the equipment that is at fault is not sold by them and is not maintained by them. This is a solution that lets such ISPs now introduce a new service that involves the cnPilot R series Wi-Fi router, which is managed by cnMaestro. And whenever they have a support call, they are able to look into the router, see what's going on at the customer's home or small business, see what devices are connected, see how well the connectivity is, perform various troubleshooting tasks that are part of the ezDetect feature that I'll discuss later. In this way, they get an insight into what's going on site without having to do a truck roll, have to send somebody at site to debug the issue. Here are three of our key 11AC products in the enterprise product line. First is the E400. Among the highlights are that it's a dual band product, able to provide service both in 2.4 and 5 GHz simultaneously. It supports up to 256 users, which is a large number that will suffice all deployments. You can configure up to 16 SSIDs, so you can separate your traffic into employee wireless LANs, guest wireless LANs, and so on. Each of these wireless LANs can have different kinds of authentication, can have different kinds of VLANs assigned to them, so you can have complete security when you provide a Wi-Fi service. As I mentioned, cnMaestro is our controller solution, and you can manage these devices through cnMaestro, but these are also fully independent devices. In other words, they do not need an always-on connection to cnMaestro in order to function. They can work independently, they have a user interface, and you can directly log into them and configure them. In addition, such functionality as fast roaming can all be done by these devices independently without requiring a controller. The E500 is our outdoor 11AC Omni solution. It provides a 360-degree coverage all around. In terms of features, it's similar to the E400. In addition, it has several hardware features that are unique to cnPilot and which help provide an enhanced outdoor Wi-Fi solution. This device has 2 ports, and the second port can do PoE out. Now, what can we do with the second port? You can use it in 2 ways. If you're using a point-to-multipoint solution, you can use the second port to provide data and power to a point-to-multipoint subscriber module. In this way, you can have an outdoor solution that is entirely wireless. Another option you have is to connect the second port to a device like a camera for surveillance. So this device can power both Cambium devices as well as standard 802.3 AF devices. Increasingly around the world, we see LTE being used in bands adjacent to the 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi spectrum. And the net result of this is that the 2.4 GHz spectrum becomes more polluted, and Wi-Fi access points are not able to perform adequately in these circumstances. So to avoid that, the E500 has LTE filters, and what this does is, even if you have an adjacent microcell or another LTE cell close to this Wi-Fi access point, it can still provide peak performance to users in the 2.4 GHz band. In addition, this is IP67 rated against dust and water ingress and performs well in all sorts of weather conditions, ranging from freezing all the way to hot deserts. The E501S, which will be introduced on May 16, is an outdoor solution similar to the E500 in terms of the number of users supported, the SSIDs, the LTE filters, PoE out, and IP67. The difference is that this has a sector antenna. The sector antenna can be used as a 90-degree sector, but its power fall off is such that you can also use it to form 120-degree sectors. It comes with a tilt bracket that you can use to position this accurately in a manner you require. I'll just pause here and see if there are any questions. Okay.
Yes, sir. We had one question actually. Is there any kind of prioritization in the R20X between voice and Wi-Fi data?
Yeah, so in the R200 and R201, you can create multiple WAN connections and completely separate out the data for voice versus the data for Wi-Fi. In addition, while the device itself does not do prioritization on the wired side, if you combine them with a point-to-multipoint solution, you can do the prioritization over there. Let me go into a bit more detail of troubleshooting tools. All this is through cnMaestro. As you can see here, since cnMaestro is a solution that manages our point-to-multipoint solution as well as the Wi-Fi, you get a single screen which shows you the status of your entire network. On the top left, you see the point-to-multipoint access point, then the customer's premises equipment, and finally the Wi-Fi equipment on the right-hand side. And the single screen tells you how your network's health is as far as this particular subscriber is concerned. You know how all your links are, whether the latency is as expected, whether the wireless MCS rates are okay or not. On the bottom, you see various tabs that let you perform various troubleshooting activities. The client health you see here shows you the name of all the devices, what is the RSSI and SNR rates for each of these. So for instance, if some subscriber complains that the iPhone, for instance, is performing poorly, you can quickly go to the screen and verify whether it has an IP address, verify that it's connected with an acceptable RSSI, and if not, advise them to change the location of the device or do something similar. The unconnected clients table tells you which clients are unable to connect to the Wi-Fi AP. For instance, a very common error with phones is people fat fingering the Wi-Fi password. When that happens, that device will show up here. There are some other various common issues that we identify and show up, and the devices show up in the table when they're having such issues. In addition, you have a Wi-Fi analyzer there, and you can remotely go there to this tab, click on the Wi-Fi analyzer, and perform a scan of the RF environment there. This will immediately tell you what is the health status in terms of RF there. Are there some channels that are particularly bad? What are all the SSIDs you can see there, and if the user is on a channel that's not providing them adequate performance, that might help you give a reason why. And if you really want to dig deep and perform even more troubleshooting activities, there's a network connectivity that lets you verify that ping, DNS, traceroute works fine. And if you want to go down at the packet level, you can even remotely do a packet capture, get individual packets, find out why DHCP is not working, and troubleshoot other such issues. Let me move on to the second part of the CN solution, which is the adaptive architecture. Now, when it comes to Wi-Fi, it's very important to manage your RF resources and optimize their usage, making sure that every client gets the best possible bandwidth. The first component of this is autoTune, which has band steering. Now, as you are probably aware, the performance in the 5 GHz band is usually much superior to that in the 2.4 GHz band, simply because you have more channels there. There usually is much less noise and interference from the third person's APs. However, many clients are not smart enough to jump to the 2.4 GHz band, to the 5 GHz band, and they tend to stick to the 2.4 GHz band. What band steering does is detect such clients and force them to associate on 5 GHz, thereby limiting 2.4 to those devices that are only single band capable. The second part of autoTune is dynamic channel selection. The 2.4 and 5 GHz bands both are very dynamic environments. It is possible that a channel that performs well today might not perform well tomorrow. So it's important for the AP to continuously scan its environment and switch channels if necessary. So this is what dynamic channel selection does. You don't need to statically set channels. It will automatically switch to the best channel. Airtime fairness is another important component of this. Now, you usually don't have control over which Wi-Fi clients join your network. You might have somebody with the latest laptop, 11AC Wave 2, the latest iPhones or Android phone. You'll also have folks with relatively old devices joining your network. Now, when that happens, if you give equal opportunity to all devices in terms of bandwidth, you're actually penalizing the faster clients which use up less airtime because they're able to transmit at higher rates. So what airtime fairness does is allocate equal airtime to all devices so that the faster devices in that same airtime can achieve higher speeds, while the slower devices, which are limited to slower speeds, are given the same amount of airtime and achieve lower throughputs. It's also important to consider the case as to what happens when, for some reason, an AP is disconnected or powers down. For this, we have dynamic power adjustment, where the APs talk among themselves and figure out what is the best power level given the channel assignment. And when, for some reason, any AP malfunctions, the other neighboring APs take over and are able to provide coverage by increasing their power output. Finally, the management and controller solution for cnPilot is very flexible. cnPilot is our cloud-based management solution, and we do offer a cloud-based solution at no cost to you. So whenever you power on and deploy your cnPilot APs, they talk to cnMaestro, they show up there where you can view the statistics and configure them. So you don't have to maintain a management infrastructure. You don't have to maintain your servers or have an IT team do backups of your management system. This is all done by Cambium at no cost to you. However, if in your organization you prefer doing things differently and you wish to have an on-premises controller local to your network, you can do that too. The same cnMaestro comes as a virtual appliance that you can install on your servers, and you can log in locally, keep all your management within your network, should you choose to do so. And finally, the third piece of this architecture is autopilot. This is something that is going to be released at the end of this month. If you have very small deployments, say 10, 15, a small number up to 32 APs, and you're not using cnMaestro, in that case, you don't have to deploy a controller on an external box. Instead, one of the APs itself is elected as the master, and that AP can be used to manage all the other APs, to view statistics on all the other APs, to gather summaries of what's going on these APs, to do tasks like upgrading those devices and so on. So you don't need a separate box. It's just one of the APs that does double duty, both as a controller as well as performing its normal Wi-Fi activities. Now, I mentioned that you can install your cnMaestro solution locally, and when you do that, you have two options as far as bridging data traffic is concerned. One is local breakout. What that means is the AP can bridge out traffic onto wired locally. The other option is that you can also tunnel traffic to a gateway. This can be done over GRE, L2 over GRE. It can be done over L2TP. We support both protocols. And you can have a concentrator terminating these tunnels and then bridging traffic locally at that location. And you can decide which wireless LANs or SSIDs are locally bridged and which are tunneled to the gateway. That way, depending on the access control methods you choose, depending on your particular network configuration, some of the SSIDs can be locally bridged while others use the gateway. So it's fully flexible in that respects and is a very adaptive architecture. Before going on, let me check for questions. Andrew, do we have any?
Yes, we do here. We have a couple questions. They said they are wondering if the sector supports just 16 users or is it more?
Could you repeat that, please?
Does the sector support just 16 users or is it more than 16 users?
Oh no, the sector supports 256 users.
Okay. Yeah, I think everybody just could understand the 16 to 256.
Yeah, so it's 256 users and 16 SSIDs or wireless LANs. But yeah, the number of users is 256 across the radios.
Fantastic. And then how do you add a name to a client device in CN Maestro?
So the name for the client device is not entered by the user. Instead, it is automatically detected. So what we do is look at the DHCP exchange between the client and the DHCP server. And the client usually sends its host name in the DHCP discover and request messages. And we capture that host name and display it in CN Maestro. It's a display only field and you don't have to manually set this up. It's done automatically.
Okay, then we have one more here. Should we have cnPilot devices that are compatible to be used with the first method of deployment? Meaning, do they exist with cnPilot compatible and non-compatible devices?
Okay, I'm not sure what that referred to, but if it's referring to this first architecture, all cnPilot devices can be used with the cloud-based management. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but
yeah, they said yes, you did. Perfect.
Okay, all right. So all cnPilot APs can be used in deployment 1 or deployment 2. You can see on the screen there, whether with cloud or with local controller. Okay, let me switch tracks a bit and move from the products and features themselves to deployments. We have seen enormous deployments in public Wi-Fi, in hospitality, in retail, in service providers, and I'll go into detail on some of these case studies here. We've had multiple deployments in education. In the US, we have one in the Plymouth School District, which involves 5 school campuses. These use the E400 for indoors Wi-Fi coverage in the school itself. In addition, for connectivity within the campus or between campuses, they also have PTP links. So they also use Cambium PTP wireless devices for these shorter links, which they can set up without having to do any trenching or laying fiber. So this is where another thing that Cambium offers that's unique comes into play, which is being able to provide an integrated wireless solution, whether it's PTP links, PMP links, or Wi-Fi. In India, we have a number of universities that are using cnPilot, and the largest of this is, involves 540, E400, and E500. Now over here, they use the tunnel controller architecture because a lot of these universities traditionally had a tunneled Wi-Fi deployment, and when they upgraded the Wi-Fi, they wanted to maintain it. So as I mentioned, the cnPilot solution is flexible and adaptive. And if you want to go for a local breakout, you can do that, or you can also tunnel traffic to a controller. This is a test which not we, but one of our customers did. In education, you often have devices simultaneously streaming video, and this is a test they did to verify that the E400 would perform adequately in this scenario. This device was able to stream 100 video streams in parallel, 100 independent video streams to 100 different laptops, which you can see here. So the E400 indeed is a high capacity device with supporting up to 256 users, like the E500 and the sector E501. So this is how many of our customers are using the cnPilot series in education. They use the E400 indoors for classrooms and within their auditoriums. For outdoor areas like say playgrounds or stadiums, they use the E500. And to connect buildings or to connect campuses, they use point-to-point links, which let you connect these islands at a very low cost and without having to get permits or right-of-way. And again, these devices are managed by CN Maestro, which acts as a Wi-Fi controller as well as a manager for the PMP devices. Wi-Fi is very important in the hospitality business. Numerous surveys have showed that one of the first things people look for, and you probably know this from personal experience too, is Wi-Fi access. This is the #1 hotel amenity, and the rating a hotel receives or whether they get repeat customers depends to a large extent on Wi-Fi. One of our customers is the Heritage Hotel Resort in Kenya. This involved a number of rooms spread out across a large area that required Wi-Fi connectivity. So not only did they require to connect these, they even needed PTP links to get internet access to this resort in the first place. So they use a redundant system of PTP60 to get connectivity to this resort. They use point-to-multipoint devices to cover this individual locations within the resort. In addition, they have used a number of E400 devices to provide Wi-Fi there within the rooms. Another example is the Holiday Inn in Bali. Again, this is where the power of the E400 and E500 solution comes into play, providing high power, high capacity solution across the hotel. Now, when you provide Wi-Fi, you also need to set up a guest portal. The days of having to ask for a WPA password are over. Usually have a splash page which will give you some sort of advertisement about the hotel, let the user know how they can log in. So CN Maestro has a complete guest portal solution inbuilt. It lets you set up rate limits for users. It lets you set up time limits, deciding, for example, that you allow free access for, say, 30 minutes every 12 hours. Lets you set up bandwidth quotas. You have multiple ways of logging into the internet access. You can simply keep it free and just let people agree to a legal terms and then click to sign in. You can enforce social login and thereby collect some demographic information like email addresses and phone numbers. So we support social login using Facebook, Google+, as well as Office 365. You can also issue vouchers. You can the system can generate voucher codes, and then you can either distribute them or sell them. And you can also set up a hierarchy of access methods. Enable 2 of these. Let's say have free access for 1 Mbps throughput, while you can buy a voucher for 5 Mbps throughput. In addition, on the right you can see we support a number of third-party portals in case you need some features like advertising portals and so on. So we fully work with a number of third-party solutions that provide such kind of guest portals. So you can either use our inbuilt guest portal if it meets your needs, or use your existing third-party solution if you so choose. In addition, later this month we are introducing paid access, where you can use PayPal to set up multiple plans and charge people directly for Wi-Fi access. This is another high impact scenario in which the E400 was used. This event is called Infogamer, where hundreds of gamers come together. Well, actually thousands of gamers come together at a location and battle each other for dominance. And as you know, gaming is very highly demanding in terms of having consistent performance as well as low latency. The events organizers were very happy with the performance of the E400, provided consistent performance, was very reliable and easy to manage using cnMaestro. This is a retail deployment for cnPilot by IMPAX Media in North America, where they use cnPilot to provide Wi-Fi for their digital display systems. So they have in-store Wi-Fi, which provides video content as shoppers go around. And as I mentioned earlier, cnPilot is able to provide multiple video streams simultaneously, so they were very happy with the video streaming performance, being able to provide this quality at an affordable price. The cnPilot E-Series APs are independent, and it's key to remember that cnMaestro is not required as an always-on connection for these devices to perform their functionality. They can work in a controller-less mode, which means that all these features like autoRF, which dynamically picks the channel and transmit power, as well as fast roaming, all work even if the connectivity to cnMaestro is down. So for example, if you have a remote site which loses its WAN connection and you are using cloud-based cnMaestro, all this functionality still works. Let me pause for questions if there are any before I go to the
just one quick one here, Trevor. Will the R200 and R201 have the ability to shape bandwidth per SSID as well as have the ability to speed test?
So at this time, the R200 and 201 don't have those features. This is something we're looking for the future. The speed test as well as the bandwidth limiting features are currently available on the E-Series only. I'll move on to a couple of public Wi-Fi case studies. This is the
we have one more that just came in here.
Sure.
How many hops does the E500 and E501 handle?
So I'm assuming this question is for mesh. We do not impose the limit on number of hops, but we typically advise against going more than 2 or 3 hops, simply because with mesh, the performance suffers as you increase the number of hops. The performance goes 1 by n, if n is the number of hops. So if you have 3 hops, it'll go to 1/3. The most common deployment we see for mesh is for a 1-hop mesh or 2-hop mesh, where you have a mainly indoors coverage area, and then you need to connect, say, one particular location outdoors. So this could, for example, be a retail store that has indoors coverage and a gas station or garden area outside that needs coverage. So these are the most typical use cases for mesh. Another is public Wi-Fi, where you have an internet drop to a particular AP, and then you go 1 or 2 hops from there. For larger wireless coverage, where with other vendors you might go for a multi-hop mesh, we instead recommend that you go with our point-to-multipoint distribution systems, because these are really aimed at providing wireless backhaul across a large area and provide a performance that can be guaranteed with an SLA for such cases. I hope that answers your question. Going on to public Wi-Fi deployments, this is a large project in Colombia, sponsored by the federal government there. And we were one of the vendors selected for that. And we have several hundred APs deployed here. So this is public Wi-Fi in areas like parks in the major cities in Colombia, and it's an ongoing project. Thanks to cnPilot, our vendors were able to very quickly deploy these. They were able to deploy these in some areas that didn't have power, and so had to use solar cells to provide power. And this was combined with a point-to-multipoint solution in order to distribute the internet connectivity across these parks. One of our larger outdoor projects is with internet.org. Internet.org is providing Express Wi-Fi, which is a free as well as paid Wi-Fi solution available in public areas in many developing countries, in India, in Africa, in other parts of Asia. Right now, the network is approaching 2,000 hotspots in India alone, with more than 100 villages connected. And again, this used our PTP links and PMP links because a lot of these are remote areas, and they use the cnPilot EPMP 1000 hotspot and the E500 series in order to provide Wi-Fi connectivity there. And what was very important to them was a common management platform for both their wireless backhaul links as well as Wi-Fi. So before I close, I'd like to emphasize the cnPilot Wi-Fi series of access points, both the E series and the R series from Cambium, offer you a solution with various support options. We have 24/7 support over the phone. We have a field support staff in various countries. We also have an online community should you choose that. The team that has developed this product has decades of experience in both Wi-Fi and cellular. Finally, Cambium is a company that always strives for innovation within a particular market. We have a very high level of investment into developing new products, into making resilient and high quality products. Before I close, I'd like to mention this month on the 16th, we are going to have a session on frictionless adaptive architecture, and in this event we are going to announce a number of new products as well as a number of new features in our existing products. So I would encourage you to attend this session Tuesday, May 16. We'll have two sessions, one in the morning and one in the evening Central Time, and you can pick whichever is more convenient. You have the link there, cambiumnetworks.com/cnPilot_May 2017. So I would encourage you to sign up and hear about a number of hardware products we are going to introduce over the next couple of months, as well as major software features that are going to be added to the cnPilot product line. So before I close, I'll take any final questions if there are any.
Yes, one coming here. Are the APs Wi-Fi passpoint certified? And do you see passpoint as an important factor going forward?
So these APs support Wi-Fi passpoint. We are in the process of certifying them, but they are compatible with any standard passpoint deployments. While passpoint has been around for a while, we see some of the larger telcos looking at it. So passpoint not only involves an AP that is compatible, but there are a number of other components that go into the backend that need to be deployed for it to work. So if you are interested in deploying passpoint, you can reach out to us and we'll be happy to discuss this in more detail. But all these cnPilot E-Series devices do support passpoint.
Let's see. How is it called, the speed test tool? Is it available in the Apple Store, or where can I get the speed testing tools to utilize to test out their connection?
Okay, so the speed test uses an open source tool called ZapD. This is a tool that was initially introduced by Ruckus, but it's an open source tool that can run these tests. And there are a number of apps that are compatible with it, including some by Ruckus that you can use to do this test. In addition, you can run this server on an external Linux host and have the AP connect to it and run these tests. If you go to our support site and you look under the E400, E500 series, along with the upgrade images, you'll also see a document there that that describes how to use it. And if you need any detailed steps, you can feel free to post on a forum and somebody will respond with the steps you need to follow to run this.
Fantastic. All right, Trevor, well, that's all the questions we have. So thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks, everybody.